things you never forget are, the things I'll never forget. The smell, popcorn and blood. That's something that never goes away. You always kind of remember that stuff. Cell phones ringing, people trying to find their loved ones, and as a bomb tech, you're also thinking, is somebody trying to trigger a secondary device?
What's going on, guys? Time for another episode of Behind the Uniforms here on location in Texas at the Emergency Operations Proving Grounds. We are down here for a week-long experience with a bunch of wounded officers. It is the Not All Heroes Wear Capes event. I am so excited to bring you this brother from another mother. We've been friends on LinkedIn for, what, a year or so now?
Something like that.
Flew on out from another great state. So why don't you tell everybody who you are?
I'm Jon Vaala. I'm a bomb squad sergeant. Been in law enforcement for 22 years, been on the bomb squad 19 years.
So growing up, Wile E. Coyote, sticks of dynamite, timer on top, train rails, is that really what it's all about?
No. I
Got it wrong?
Yeah, I wish. That's really cool stuff. But the movies are great, but they don't get any of it right. So it's the best job we have in law enforcement, I think, and it's unbelievably fun.
So where do you want to start? Good day, bad day? Like, I want to hear what this is all about.
Well, I guess probably let's do the bad day, get it out of the way.
Yeah.
So July 20th, 2012, I was the primary on-call bomb tech for an incident that occurred in Aurora, Colorado. There was a theater shooting. They kind of didn't have any information for me, so I was trying to figure out my resources. Luckily, we got the right people to call the right people and responded. It was I've never seen so many cops in one place, and had to park a few blocks away, run through the crowd. There were still victims and witnesses and people running around, cops running around, and they saw that I was a bomb tech, and they're like, hey, we got suspicious cars out front. It was just chaos. So it was probably, I want to say, it was less than an hour after the shooter was taken into custody. So it was cleared the two cars out on scene. There was nothing. I'm not sure why they were suspicious, but the second one I understood, but it was nothing. It was a high-end stereo capacitor, which looks kind of scary. It looks like a big pipe bomb with a digital display on it. So,
Oh, jeez.
So luckily I knew what that was, and it was good. And then they said I needed to go and clear the theater, so where the shooting occurred, so they could safely hold the crime scene.
Got it.
So
How do you go about doing that?
Just try to be systematic, trying to just try to be safe, not kick anything over, try to make sure things are normal. But trying to be systematic about how you clear things out. And it was, walking to the theater, the things you never forget are, things I'll never forget. The smell, popcorn and blood. That's something that never goes away. You always kind of remember that stuff. Cell phones ringing, people trying to find their loved ones, and as a bomb tech, you're also thinking, is somebody trying to trigger a secondary device? So it's like, well, hopefully these things will stop, and we don't have to, hopefully they'll stop at some point. So trying to, so I figured out the grid I was going to use, how I was going to systematically work through the theater. Had a couple cover officers making sure that I was going to be safe. And
at this point, the bodies are presumably still there?
Oh yeah, nothing had been moved. Try not to. There was it was rivers of blood. It was truly a massacre. There was bodies in the front row of the risers. I'm like, all right, time to get to work. It was you just had to get into the mode of it's time to get to work and we need to get this done. Stuff needs to happen. And so search as best I could around bodies and bags, making sure we didn't have any bombs that were going to try to kill us, trying to kill the cops on scene. So worked my way through, worked around it. It was one of the craziest, tough things you could go through. It's stuff you'll never unsee.
I ask this question a lot of officers who have gone through just horrible situations like this. You mentioned the ability or the need to not shut off the humanity, but sort of shut off the emotion, check the emotion to do your job. How do you then switch back and go home to your family?
That was the hard part. I mean, I'm a dad. I got 3 awesome kids, but I also got text messages from them, and saying, please be safe, Daddy, we love you. And that was just, that was hard. That was the toughest part for me. Was that was after I'd come out. We were kind of in a holding pattern. So I got these, check my phone. We got these text messages. I'm like, oh my. Trying to, collect yourself and keep it together. And, we had a few more tasks. And then they finally, later on, they got the search warrant, so we had to go back in teams of 2. So we had to check all the bodies. We teamed up, so we divided. There was 2 groups. We were going to check 5 bodies each. So we had to move them so the coroner's office could safely check them all. So you don't know if they fell on something. There was that explosive hazard that we knew from the shooter's apartment that we were on very high alert for that. We had to go in with minimal protection because you can't go in with bomb suits in the rows of the theater. Bodies were wedged in between seats. I mean, it was very little moving, or very little area to move in. So, when people talk about dead weight, you get a new appreciation for it. So, trying to get in precarious positions and trying to slowly move them so somebody can look underneath, make sure they're clear, but also trying to, do your very best to be respectful that dead. You were starting to get their stories, and so you wanted to be as respectful as you could and understand, these were somebody's family members. This is somebody's son, brother.
How many were killed that day?
12. 10 were in the theater. 2 got transported. So it was a very, very long day. Had to do it. I'd just gotten to sleep. I was probably asleep an hour before the page came out, or before the call from dispatch came out. Yeah. So it was, just at the end, you go home and, I have an awesome wife. She's, she was right there for me, and just let me just cried out, I mean, when you're that emotionally and physically exhausted, and trying to keep all of that garbage contained, it's tough. But luckily, I got a rocket home, and she was unbelievably awesome. She's been great for every critical incident I've been involved in, and that's the best part about going home.
Behind every good man is a better woman.
Oh yeah. I definitely married up.
Let's talk about a good day.
Man, a good day. It's kind of funny because my good day involved a bank robbery. So, guy robbed a bank. He, as soon as he gets caught, has a heart attack.
Come on.
And he was an older guy, bad health, but desperate. So he has a heart attack, and so when he gets transported to the hospital, I'm doing my investigation. I'm tracking all his movements and found everything. I had him. That was a closed case. Didn't have to do anything. No pun intended. So I'm like, I want him to confess, and so I'm there at the hospital waiting for him when he gets discharged, and he knows. And we go to the headquarters, and he's trying to do the denial thing. I would never do anything like that. and I'm just letting them talk and letting them talk, and you know, it's just I'm like, well, what about this? What about this? You know, I'm like, I know you're not a bad guy. You know, I know he was in pain. He had needed a hip replacement, so he's in just incredible pain. So I'm like, look, I know, I've been there. I know pain takes you to dark places, do things you've never done before, you would never think about doing, and I'm like, you know, it takes you out of the good person you used to be and to a desperate person, and you could just see that, just the defeat. You know, he just stops and he's like, I did it. I'm like, I know. I said, I just wanted you to tell me that. And so they don't go to a trial. He does, I don't know, I want to say like 5 years. He calls me when he gets out of prison and thanks me for catching him, and you know, and
Wow.
he got help in prison and got his medical care and stuff. But he wasn't a bad guy. He just, you know, just got desperate.
No doubt.
You know, he was always the entrepreneur guy that was always trying to get rich quick stuff, and no, he was a terrible businessman, just couldn't keep anything going, and you know, the economy wasn't the best then, but you know, it was incredibly satisfying, you know, even though I was still doing my job as a cop and trying to, you know, put a bad guy away, but I knew he wasn't a bad guy, but he needed to pay for his crime.
No doubt.
But it was so surreal getting a phone call saying, I want to thank you. And I'm like, okay, cool.
That's funny.
So, I mean, that was, you know, there's been a lot, but, you know, I always said law enforcement's the best, worst career there is.
No doubt.
So it's pretty crazy.
Awesome, man. Brother, I appreciate you sharing the stories tremendously.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys, it takes you 2 seconds to hit the share button on that video. If you could do so, that'd be great. Help us get these stories about these incredible patriots out there to everybody you know, because that's how we begin countering the narrative of these attacks on law enforcement officers. So, brother, pleasure and honor, and
Absolutely.
nice to finally meet you in person.
Yeah, awesome. It's been
Guys,
great.
thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. God bless America.